Haze was a first-person shooter released in 2008. It came around the time when Call of Duty Modern Warfare was all the rage. It had stiff competition to go up against like Halo 3, Resistance Fallen Man the year before, and the upcoming Call of Duty World at War, which would come out the same year. The developers behind it were Free Radical Design. They had an incredible portfolio behind them with the likes of GoldenEye and Perfect Dark under Rareware, before forming Free Radical Design in 2000 to create the acclaimed Triumph Spillers trilogy and Second Sight, which gathered a cult following during the PS2 era. So Haze would pretty much be their first game onto the PS3. However, it's not as acclaimed or loved as their other games. Let's find out why. You're Shane Carpenter, who's a young sergeant working for the Mantel Corporation. Your mission is to stop a dictator known as Skin Coat. It begins poorly as you're introduced to unlikable squad mates that the game tries to make you bond with. But the game makes itself aware that they're unlikable. Gameplay-wise, it starts decently enough when the first mission is to find the ship that contains the drug nectar that got attacked by a missile, where it gives the soldiers enhanced abilities. You come across the pilot who slowly dies in front of your eyes while your squad mates only care for the drug nectar that went missing. You return to your ship and you receive orders to go find Skin Coat himself. You get to drive a buggy to the factory and you get to go through it to go find him. Afterwards you get to him and he doesn't seem to be that bad. Your squad mates come in and one of them, called Morgan Duvall, cuts his right finger off.
Nobody takes my nectar.
They get back to their aircraft and fly back to base, but in a twist of fate they crash into a swamp and somehow you survive the crash. You follow Flyfies and a rebel to escape while Mantel turns against you. Sadly, after that, the game goes downhill.
My friend, there are two sides to every war. Are you sure you're on the right one?
We're going this way. You go that way. Just an animal!
The story has quite a lot of plot holes, and after 6 levels I couldn't care for what happens afterwards. It got boring really quickly. I became a rebel, which was a massive downgrade and fills the rest of the game. The nectar, which is the game's strong point, does absolutely nothing, but the enemies just glow and that's it. When you overdose, you start going AWOL and kill everything, even your own guys. The insulting thing about this is you're only in the suit for 6 levels. That's not all. The vehicles you drive in this game feel like they're on ice and are very difficult and awkward to control. I dreaded driving them every time the game put me in those sections. When they're heavily damaged, it becomes a ticking time bomb, which baffles me. There are also no tanks to drive anywhere, and you can only blow them up in the game, which is a missed opportunity. The thing I miserably despised was the friendly AI throughout the entire game. They are completely useless. They get in the way every time I aim and shoot. They run into walls and shoot them as well. They repeat dialogue over and over, which annoys the crap out of me throughout my entire game through. The only fun I had with them is when I deliberately pushed them off a cable car to their deaths.
Goodbye!
The game wants you to feel sympathy as the nectar gives Mantel soldiers mental health problems. But it doesn't work because you don't care enough and you don't know them well or the characters who die as well. There was no build up to any of it at all. The graphics look like they came from an original Xbox and are terrible with not friendly third-party controllers, without the ability of 6 axes when getting burnt alive. The loading screens take 20 seconds to load, and finally the main villain in your squad speaks like he's trying to win the US election and failing miserably with his forced dialogue.
What I said about prioritizing, buddy.
What about it?
Do you love anyone? A woman? Your mommy?
Parents, yeah?
You hate anyone?
Why do you ask?
Because everything you feel, all these emotions like love, hate, joy, misery, all of it, they're just a series of chemical compounds and electrical impulses in your brain. Nothing more. So when you fought that bully kid for that girl you liked at high school, or whatever your story, you weren't doing it for some higher purpose. You were doing it because some chemicals were fizzing around your skull. That's it. You're an ape, a monkey, doing whatever those chemicals tell you to do. And once you accept that, you can take control of yourself instead.
And prioritize?
Yes, but you won't be prioritizing based on how you feel about things anymore. You'll be doing it based on how things actually are. If you've got 2 men dying, save the one with the bigger gun, not the one you like hanging out with. All I'm saying is, when you step off this dropship, keep a grip on reality, buddy. Don't be one of them. Don't be an ape.
Also didn't help that it was often compared to another popular franchise. The multiplayer is nothing to write home about, to be honest. There's only 3 modes. They are Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, and Assault. And you can only play Assault with a buddy if you change the connection time to Local Area Network, or LAN. It only has 6 maps, with some of them including vehicles. But what's the point? They're terrible, like I mentioned, and no one uses them. Not even the AI. You could get something if you can get Local Area Network with cables and all that. But there are better shooters on the market. Still a small portion of good bits, like when I saw dead bodies stuffed in a shipping container and the guy explaining what happened gives me the chills a little bit.
I was hoping you'd come. I needed to see something. You remember when I helped you with your gear in the elevator?
What about it?
I turned your nectar gauge down a notch or 2 so you could see a little slice of reality, sir. Get ready for a big dose.
Who are these people?
Who? This is Sergeant Nick Cote. This is Lance Corporal Tom Rampton. And in one of those crates back there is my first drill instructor. These are all Mantle soldiers. And there's not a single bullet wound amongst them.
What happened to them? Chemical weapons?
No. This war we've been fighting, there is no guerrilla uprising here. No ethnic cleansing. Listen, did you ever see the Mantle soldiers dressed in black? Those are special forces. They only call them in on black ops. The real top secret stuff. I kept an ear on the radio down here, monitoring. You know all the special forces have been spending their days? Burning plants. There's some kind of plant in this area, something rare they use to make nectar.
It's all about money. Fucking profit margins.
They're burning plants so no one else can synthesize nectar. Us grunts are down here taking over the country so Mantle Incorporated can corner the pharmaceuticals market. No wonder the rebels been fighting us tooth and nail. We have no right to be here.
What happened to these soldiers?
Think about it! All dead, no wounds. The one thing they all had in common, that we all have in common, is nectar. A performance enhancer, antidepressant, whatever you want to call it. It killed them! Someone put these soldiers in here so we wouldn't question what nectar does to us. So we wouldn't lose confidence in our cause.
But why hasn't it killed the rest of us?
Maybe it will.
How can we stop the drug?
I don't know. It's controlled remotely from somewhere.
They'd need somewhere on high ground.
The observatory.
Gabrielle? Marino, do you copy?
I copy.
Get your people ready to move on the observatory in the north of the Boa Valley. That's the high point.
The observatory, of course. Radio me when you get out of there, and I'll come and get you.
Take the shot.
Just listen to me, Carpenter. When you have all the information, it's easy to make the right decision.
There are also abilities to play two-player co-op and multiplayer as well. But games I mentioned like Resistance and Halo 3 have better co-op experiences, and Call of Duty World at War can do a 4-player co-op. Heck, Resistance was a PS3 launch title released in 2006. I also like the swamp level where your mind plays tricks with you, and I had to escape. There's a war message in there, but it isn't great, though I do admire them for trying. It's bad, but not the worst. I do see what they were trying to do and make a story-driven game with the mental effects of war, which would have been something different that wasn't copying Call of Duty at the time. But something went wrong during development, and it wasn't to be. Sadly, it was Free Radical's final game before being bought out by Crytek UK. They were one of my favourite developers behind the Timesplitters trilogy. It's sad to see this company end in such a bad dud. I give this game an orange for below average. It's not worth your time, and stick to currently good shooters out there. Thank you ever so much for watching, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed my review of Haze. Join me next time for an upgrade with Unreal Tournament 1 on the PS2. See you there! That was awesome! Somebody got all over the Ferris wheel. You got over a 4-year-old. I hate to be their mother right about now. It's gonna stink in the morning. They should have a washing machine home, right? Right? Well, at least I got it on video. You alright, Sarge? They ran out of roasted peanuts and fruit juice. I said you alright, Sarge. It wasn't because of the little girl you puked on, was it? You don't get it, Shane. It wasn't because of that. It was the fact that they ran out of fruit juice and roasted peanuts. My mommy used to buy me a lot of fruit juice and roasted peanuts to make myself feel better after high school. I'm not going into full detail, so don't bother asking. It's not my fault for what happened in high school. All that happened was I went to the girls' toilets and stayed in for the boys. And after that fateful day, I felt like an idiot. They haven't had signs on the door at the time, and I got phobias of going since. I hope you're happy now, Shane. You know too much of me. I'm uploading it, but the Wi-Fi's too slow. I'm smelling apple pie from up here. Or a pile of crap you forgot to flush. Hey, don't spoil the moment, man. I think I'm gonna need to hire a therapist.